How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTC Reaper, and my goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading, whether price is going up or down. Coinbase pushes back on reports that it's blocked in Nigeria. The exchange platform Coinbase remains accessible in Nigeria, despite reports to the contrary. Multiple local outlets, including the Financial Times, reported to local telecommunications that the government was blocking Binance, Coinbase, Kraken, and they want to ban other exchanges as well. Coinbase says, "We are continuing to investigate these reports, but based on the initial investigation, it appears that Coinbase.com remains accessible from Nigeria," the spokesperson for Coinbase said in an email. Neither of the other two exchanges responded. Crypto exchange platforms like Binance have been blatantly setting exchange rates for Nigeria, hijacking the role of the country's central bank, says Bayo Unagawa, an advisor for the Nigerian president Bola Tinubu, in a Wednesday post on X. South Africa advances financial inclusion with crypto and digital payment reforms. The budget targets enhancing access to digital payments for people with townships and rural areas who predominantly handle cash. These initiatives will provide local merchants with the infrastructure needed for digital transactions, like internet connectivity and point-of-sale systems. South Africa intends to legitimize crypto payments and make them an intrinsic part of the local economy over the coming years, starting with a regulatory framework for the sector. The Intergovernmental FinTech Working Group will start issuing comprehensive guidelines in 2024 for stablecoins and their practical applications. This will be a thorough review for stablecoins, and they'll create recommendations with global standards that could be applied. So they do want to help use crypto and help innovate with it, unlike our SEC. Over on the Dixie for the daily, we are seeing a decline overall. We did try to break through our support level. If we see this continued push down, we are likely going to break this support and possibly push to our other support level. Remember, we do have this lower gap. However, we did bounce off these EMA bands. If we continue to push off these EMA bands, we do have the potential to keep going forward based on other indicators. We are using Market Cipher B edits, this is free, and Market Cipher A free version 1.1, which is free, just like the trading view we're using and the information we're giving you. That's why you should hit the subscribe and notification bell as well as the like button. So over on our Market Cipher B, if you want more in-depth anything that we're covering, we have more in-depth detail for this information in the Mastering the Trade series that we are finishing up with this week. So visit all the previous videos, get yourself caught up. They're only a few minutes of video. Our stochastic is heading down. That's this double line with the orange above blue that does have bearish strength. RSI is weakening as a result. The stochastic is below 30, so it's in that bearish territory. If it continues in the bearish territory, our RSI is going to continue downward, and that would lead price action downward, as the RSI is the relative strength index. We were overbought for some time. Once it starts to come down from being overbought, you do see these sell-offs, so exercise some caution and trade accordingly. Our VWAP is in the bearish territory. Money flow is in the bullish territory, but if this VWAP yellow wave keeps going in this bearish territory below zero, then this money flow could round break that zero and flip into the bearish territory, where it would go from a green wave into a red wave. Our momentum is weakening because of that VWAP weakening. As that momentum heads down, that money flow does lose strength, so pay close attention to this VWAP and momentum. If our VWAP maintains a bearish trend, we are likely going to see a breakdown. However, if our VWAP can rebound and our momentum can go back into bullish territory, we can make a bounce off this support level and these EMA bands. Over on our total for the daily, remember this represents the market cap of all of our altcoins. This excludes Bitcoin and Ethereum. We are below this green EMA band. If we continue below this green EMA band, we are likely going to push to our blue EMA, where we can continue to drop below other EMA bands. I'm going to get rid of this random line there. Our stochastic is falling. We had that bearish divergence. Bearish divergence is where your oscillator is either going down or sideways while price action continues forward. Our momentum is heading down as well, so we have bearish divergence here as well. RSI is weakening. VWAP is favoring that bearish territory, So overall, the total does look like we could get a rejection and continue to pull back here. If we look at the 2-hour, VWAP is in the bearish territory, momentum is rounding, and the money flow is weakening. Pay close attention to that. If our momentum and our money flow break into that bearish territory, we are likely going to see further price decline in total, and that would represent our altcoins selling off unless Graph wants to do some crazy stuff, but we don't have any new AI news today. Our momentum is breaking down overall, our stochastics overall breaking down, VWAP has broken into the bearish territory, and our money flow wants to break bearish as well. If that VWAP continues to favor bearish on this 1 hour, our money flow will flip into that bearish territory with our momentum, and then our higher time frames would be in jeopardy of weakening. So I would pay close attention to these lower time frames. If they start breaking bearish, we could see further sell-off. Over on Bitcoin dominance for the daily, we did come back down. We tried to break our point of control. We have a manipulation X. We're rounding away from this bullish movement. So even though we had this green confirmation, we did pull back. That's why stop losses that we cover in our Mastering the Trade series are important to use. Overall, we got the push to the point of control. We did get a bounce above it. We will look at the lower time frame, see how we're looking, but our VWAP is favoring bearishly currently. Money flow is overall weakening. Momentum has broken bearish. So if our VWAP continues lower, momentum will continue to drop, and that money flow will start to weaken, and that would give us the potential to break through this point control and see the bears drop Bitcoin dominance. That would result in dominance weakening, futures weakening, and Bitcoin weakening. Remember, they are all kind of tied together. That's why we cover them. We do have the potential for our Dixie to make that bounce as well. And remember that Dixie does run inverse of the crypto market typically. So if we see that Dixie get that bounce, we are typically going to see our Bitcoin market, crypto market start to pull back. We do still have this flag here. We did try to break forward. We have a hammer candle, but it's also a long lower shadow. This should show that the sellers are getting exhausted and that the buyers should step in and push us forward. However, we're getting this red candle for tomorrow. If we confirm a strong red candle tomorrow, we will see a round, and that round could drop us lower toward our value area high of our fixed range volume profile here. Remember, you get that by clicking here, fixed range volume profile, hit the star, it'll save it up here. Again, that's in our Mastering the Trade series. Our stochastic is overall falling, momentum is starting to drop, RSI is losing strength, our money flow is breaking down slightly as that VWAP starts to favor bearish. If our VWAP continues to favor bearish here, momentum will continue to weaken and that money flow will continue to weaken as well, which will bring us down toward that value area high, which also has a gap. Remember, gaps have an 80% chance to fill. Over on our 2 hours, speaking of gaps, we did push forward, but we did warn you with this candle, we did have the potential to round away and fill it, and we did push lower. I bet if we look on the 1 hour, almost a full candle body, so most people could have gone in or out right around here. But on that 2 hour, money flow is bearish, VWAP's breaking into the bearish territory, momentum's rounding, stochastic has bearish divergence. This could be a double top. That double top could end up dropping us. That's a rise, a drop, a rise, and then another drop. That would end up, we have our neckline right around here, so you would go from your head to your neckline. That'd be your breakdown point. That could take you to that 49,940. So just below that 50K psychological support resistance. And remember, since futures does lead Bitcoin, that could bring Bitcoin lower with it. Over on the 1 hour, our stochastic has bearish divergence. RSI is pointing down aggressively. Momentum has bearish divergence. Money flows in the bearish territory. VWAP tried to get a bullish trend, but now it's breaking back into that bearish territory. If this VWAP favors the bearish territory here, we are likely going to see a price action break down, and we could see that 50K break. Over on Bitcoin for the daily, we are still within our flag. We tried to break down below it, so I would exercise some caution as stochastic is running down aggressively. RSI is weakening, momentum starting to come out very quickly. Our money flow is going flat, and that VWAP is starting to pull back. If that VWAP continues to pull back, makes lower lows with lower highs, our momentum will start to taper off more aggressive, and then we could get a sudden break, just like back here. Right now, we are starting a bit of a sudden push down. Back here, if you look, momentum started to ramp down. Once it got below right around here, it did see a sudden drop. So we could get one big red candle tomorrow if we're not careful, or in the next couple days. So I would watch out for that possibility. Again, that does align with our futures possibility to break 50K. Stochastic wants to head down on the 4 hour. We do have our orange above blue, but blue's trying to round. So we could try to gain some strength here, just above that bearish territory. RSI wants to go flat, it's trying to curl up, so we'll need that stochastic to rebound here. VWAP is breaking into a bearish trend, money flow is weakening, and the momentum is starting to round away. So overall, the 4 hour is on the edge of breaking into a bearish trend. I would exercise some caution. If we see the 1 hour, 2 hour, and 4 hour break into a bearish trend, that's where we would get that sudden move. Our 2 hour has several manipulation X's that want to bring us down. We got a pretty drastic move. We are trying to retrace some of the losses, but just be warned, if we see further losses here, we could invalidate this flag like we've been warning. Stochastic has bearish divergence that wants to push down. Orange is above blue, RSI is coming down. Momentum has bearish divergence as well. That VWAP's breaking into the bearish territory. We have lower highs. If we get lower lows, that money flow is likely going to break down with it. And then we could see that 4 hours start to push lower. Over on the 1 hour here, this could be a little bit of a double top. So we have a goofy rise. We'll say that was like a fake out, then a drop, a rise, and then our drop would be here. That would push you possibly somewhere around there. We'll measure it by going from our head to our neckline and then applying that to the neckline and right around there. So right around that 52, 53 area. Stochastic is starting to head down on the 1 hour. RSI is weakening, money flows in the bearish territory. VWAP's heavy in that bearish territory. Stochastic's curling down. If that VWAP favors the bearish territory here, we're likely going to break that 50K, and we could be in jeopardy of revisiting some other areas like 44K. Over on graph for the daily, now that all that AI news is gone, we are starting to retrace some of the gains, but that AI news will push coins like this up. That's why it's important to pay attention to market news as well as TA, because the news can take over the TA if it's very positive. Stochastic is starting to head down, RSI is starting to round, VWAP's breaking into the bearish territory, and the money flow is in the bullish territory but going flat, so I would exercise some caution. We are seeing the rest of the market pull back. We did get more of a pullback on graph today than the rest of the market, so we could see it start to catch up. Over on the 4 hour, we did get a run up, some consolidation, and a bit of a curl, kind of like back here. So we could try to see another run up. That could be a trend we get. We got a little bit back here. I would watch out for that to be a continued trend that could try to push us forward. But stochastic is heading down. We have orange above blue. Momentum has bearish divergence. VWAP broke into the bearish territory, and our money flow is starting to head down with that momentum. So I would watch our VWAP closely. If it breaks into a bearish trend on our lower time frames, we could start to lose some steam. On the 2 hour, stochastic's heading down, RSI's losing strength, VWAP's in the bearish territory, and our money flow is close to breaking into that bearish territory as well. So I would exercise caution, because if that VWAP favors bearishly, momentum continues down, and that money flow flips bearish, our higher time frames would be in jeopardy of breaking down. Over on the 1 hour, we do have a manipulation X. This does want to break us down, but we're trying to make a bullish engulfing candle. If we can get a bullish engulfing candle and get green candles, we could attempt to get a run up, just like back here. But just like right here, that run up could get invalidated too. So exercise your risk properly. RSI wants to come down. Momentum wants to head down. VWAP's in that bearish territory. Money flows in the bearish territory. It is trying to break neutral. If that VWAP can gain some strength, we could see that money flow break up. But with the VWAP favoring this bearish territory and that momentum breaking down, that money flow could get a little bit of a peak and then round back in, just like it did right here, right here. So just exercise some caution. Don't get too excited if you see like one candle break bullish and then we start going flat. Remember, you do want confirmation. Over on Ankr for the daily, we do have a pretty strong red candle. We tried to push down to our 300 EMA. This is our 300-day EMA on our market cipher A. Momentum does want to round, stochastic wants to round. RSI is losing strength. VWAP is breaking into that bearish territory, and the money flow does want to round because that momentum and VWAP are losing strength, so I would exercise some caution. Today's candle was more of an indecision, so while we got that big wick, if we continue with this indecision, we could see a further drop. Remember, wicks are like gaps, so they're important to keep your eye on because you could end up rolling, filling that point. On the 4-hour, we are starting to kind of slide here, chop sideways. We don't have very strong candles. If we continue seeing these stronger red candles, this is a long upper shadow. If we follow this with a strong red candle, that could end up dropping us down right here. However, if we continue seeing more red candles than green, and these green candles continue to be indecision doji candles, we could start to push down there as well. But our RSI is weakening. Stochastic wants to round, momentum wants to round, we have a red dot. Money flow is flat, somewhat losing strength. VWAP's overall starting to push down, so I would watch this VWAP. If it flips into that bearish territory very aggressively, we could see a new bearish trend. Momentum and money flow would then start to weaken again, and we could see price action fill these wicks. Over on the 2-hour, we do have the potential for a double top, much like everything else. Stochastic's heading down. RSI is weakening, momentum's rounding with the red dot. Money flow is starting to push down. The VWAP has lower highs with lower lows, so we are starting to make a bearish trend. If this bearish trend continues, on the 2-hour would break into a bearish trend, and that could start to weaken the higher time frames. Over on the 1-hour, you can see we keep trying to stair step up, but we're kind of starting to round away. This was making somewhat of a rising channel that could be starting to pull back. If we draw from this parallel channel, could draw it there, or you could call from here to there and then narrow that. Either way you slice it, or you could say this is a freak breakup and you try and move this and capture these. But either way, we could have a rising channel somewhere here. This rising channel would end up being a bearish pattern that breaks you down. It could also be a head and shoulders, which we have a shoulder, then you have your head, your other shoulder, and then you would end up breaking down. Your neckline for your head and shoulders would be from your head to your support or neckline. Then you'd apply that down. For this channel, it would be very similar, so I'm not even going to bother changing it. It'd be just a little shorter. So either way, that could break us to this purple EMA. That VWAP is in the bearish territory. Money flow is breaking down. Momentum is pulling back with bearish divergence. Stochastic is selling off with our orange above blue. We keep trying to cross up, but we keep getting rejected, and our RSI is losing strength as a result. If we continue to push down here, we're likely going to see this channel push down, this head and shoulders break us lower, and then we could see further sell-off to that 29-cent area. Over on XRP for the daily, we are trending along this support level. We'll cover that in the 1-hour though. Over on the daily, this could be making a double top. This double top could end up dropping us down. You have this rise, a drop, a rise, a drop. So this drop could take us here, and then that could be a pretty significant drop. Your neckline would be right around here, and then you would go from your head to your neckline. That's why it's such a significant drop, because your rise is from so low. That could bring you actually right around that 49-cent value area low. So remember, our value areas do kind of move as price action moves. That's why it went from 48 cents to 49 cents. So they can adjust. That's why it's important to kind of watch them if you want to use them in your trading strategy. But we could see a push down to that area. Our stochastic is starting to round, momentum starting to lose strength. RSI is losing strength, our VWAP is favoring bearish, and our money flow is starting to pull back from that neutral. I would watch the lower time frames. If they continue to weaken, then we could start to break down here. Over on the 4-hour, we are starting to consolidate. This could be making a bear flag and trying to invalidate that double top. So the bear flag, you would do a parallel channel, and then we could draw it just like that. It would be from your break up to the bottom of your channel, and then your breakdown point would be right around this 52. So there's two possibilities. If we continue sideways, we'll invalidate our double top. But if we don't continue sideways and our next candle is a big red candle and we break out, we could start to see this pull us back down toward that 52. That would be the start of our double top breakdown. So that's how some patterns can work together. RSI is pretty flat here. Stochastic is trying to push forward. That VWAP is in a bearish trend. Momentum is rounding as a result with a red dot. And our money flow is trying to push forward as we had a little bit of momentum, but we're starting to lose that momentum. So our money flow could start to pull back as well. Over on this 2 hour, we do have a green candle, so that is positive. If we continue getting green candles, we could try to push forward and invalidate this pattern. Our stochastic does want to round away. We do have orange above blue, so I would exercise caution. We have bearish divergence. Momentum does want to round with a red dot. VWAP is breaking into the bearish territory, and our money flow is going flat as a result of the VWAP and momentum starting to pull back. If our VWAP and momentum continue lower, we will see that money flow break into that bearish trend, which then could weaken our higher time frames, much like on everything else. Over on the 1 hour, stochastic is pushing down. We do have that orange above blue pretty aggressively. RSI is coming down when our blue does want to round. If we can see a round here, that would be helpful because that'd be right above that 30, and that could give us that bullish strength to continue pushing our RSI up, which would help push price action forward and try to invalidate this pattern. Our momentum does want to pull back. Our VWAP is in the bearish territory, and the money flow did try to break into a bearish trend, but our VWAP was trying to round back up. If our VWAP starts to pull back here, our money flow will continue to weaken as that momentum is starting to taper off. So I would watch the next few candles. If we start getting some red candles and we break back below this 54 support, then we will see the bears gain support. However, if we are able to see this green candle close, then we get another strong green candle. That could be a confirmation of another attempt to run up and invalidate this channel and push forward. So I would watch. Just remember, manage your risk properly for both scenarios. Over on Algo for the daily, we are starting to round away. We are below our EMA here as well. Stochastic's pushing down, RSI is losing strength, our VWAP's in the bearish territory, and our money flow wants to break bearish as well. So overall, that daily is not looking very strong. Our 4 hour, we could have a shoulder, a head, and a shoulder here. So we'll draw that where this is your shoulder, this is your head. We have a little bit of a slanted shoulder, so a little bit the other direction than we had on our XRP. But that would give you a breakdown. That could push you right around that 1695. Our stochastic does want to round, RSI wants to round, money flows losing strength, VWAP wants to break bearish, our momentum is in the bearish territory with a red dot. So if this VWAP continues to gain bearish momentum here, we will see that momentum pull back, and that money flow will start to weaken, which will result in us starting to carve out the rest of this shoulder. Over on the 2 hour, we do have a manipulation X that wants to bring us lower. Stochastic is starting to head down, RSI is losing strength, momentum wants to round, our VWAP is starting to make a bearish trend, and the money flow is not very strong. So if the momentum starts to break bearish and the VWAP favors bearishly, we will see this money flow reverse and possibly break into a bearish trend, which would then result in those higher time frames starting to weaken. Over on the 1 hour, we do want to pull back, so watch if we can break this EMA, then we retest it and reject. If we do that, then we are likely going to continue lower. RSI wants to pull back, momentum has bearish divergence, stochastic has bearish divergence, VWAP is favoring the bearish territory, and the money flow is breaking bearish as a result. If this VWAP continues to favor bearish and our money flow continues to break down, we will see the 1 hour continue bearish, which will continue to weaken the 2 hour, and that will start to trickle up if we do not get a reversal. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a wonderful night.